All right, Shawn, already got you. That was very quick. I think you're on mute.
Hello. Yeah, I was waiting. My trigger finger was
Wow.
ready.
Nice. Okay, that was a lot more successful than with World Mobile, where everything crashed and I had to make a completely new space. Awesome. Very nice to have you. I would say let's just give it maybe a minute or two, just because we said we're going to start at 6 p.m. CET, which is in 1 minute. So maybe it would just give people a bit of a chance.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah, I would say we're good. It's just 1 minute before 6. I think nobody's going to hold it against us.
Yeah.
So, first of all, thank you, Shawn, and thank you everybody for tuning in. This is Project Spotlight number 2. We received quite a lot of feedback after the very first one with World Mobile. Most people were happy. Some people weren't sure about it. It feels a bit as if we're promoting certain projects, which is not the case. So the goal of Project Spotlight from MuesliSwap is to give projects that build on Cardano a, a stage of sorts where they get to present, elaborate on their projects. Because let's face it, there's a lot of development happening right now, and it's really, really hard to keep up with all the projects. So today, our guest is Shawn from Gero, and I would say we can get into it. Shawn, thank you once more for coming. And if you could just tell us a bit about yourself before we get into Gero.
Hello. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, especially so early, Spotlight number 2. So it's kind of an honor. Um, and I want to say I think it is a great idea to collaborate with other projects and get the word out for everyone. I know that we hear a lot about how basically people haven't heard of Gero Wallet, so I really appreciate the chance to get on here and talk more about it. So yeah, I'm Shawn, and I am a co-founder of Gero Wallet. My background is in psychology and human factors. So that's kind of my approach into digital assets. I want to apply my expertise in UX research to digital assets and Cardano and blockchain. And so that's one of the original goals with Gero Wallet is to basically break down the barriers to entry, be more user friendly. Um, and more than a year ago, there wasn't a MetaMask like solution on Cardano. So we saw that as a great gap to try to take advantage of. And then I saw it as a great avenue to try to improve UX, the user experience and digital assets as a whole. But right now, we are a Cardano wallet, and very soon we will be dropping the wallet aspect to it and being more of an ecosystem. So we'll be coming out with a full dashboard, and with that dashboard, there will be a DEX aggregator. We'll be working with partners to provide NFT staking, yield farming, access to derivatives and synthetics, and also borrowing and lending. Um, and what you could kind of imagine with the dashboard is it's going to be like an all-in-one financial place where you can go and manage all of your financials essentially. So we're starting with the fiat on and off ramps, which we have in the wallet currently, and we'll be able to provide everything from A to Z all in one place. And I think hopefully that's a good synopsis. I could probably keep talking, but I think I've talked too long already. So please feel free to ask questions about anything that we're doing because we're doing a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So you basically just dropped a lot of information right now, and I kind of wanted to get into every single one of those points individually. But it's good. You just gave us a really good breakdown. So I did my due diligence when it comes to Gero, and I also saw that you had like in your career, you've been involved with Google, you've been involved with Facebook. Sorry, I'm just taking a bit of a step back here, doing more of an origin story type of thing, like just to find out the beginnings of Gero. And I was wondering what made you like switch from Google or Facebook to doing your own thing. What's also very interesting is your background in psychology. So let's face it, those two companies are extremely important today, and they impact also our psyche to a very large extent. So I'm just quite curious, how did you go from Google, Facebook to developing a wallet, like doing your own thing. And yeah.
Sure. I think just starting at the beginning, when I was studying psychology, I wanted to work in gaming actually. And I was trying to figure out how to do it because I'm not very artistic. And then I learned about user experience and UX research. And at the time, I was actually conducting research in a neuroscience lab. Uh, so I kind of made the jump into UX. And uh, so I just got a message. But and then I learned I learned that I had to get a master's essentially if I wanted to get a job in UX, and it wasn't mandatory, but as I was applying around, no one was really biting on for a bachelor's degree in psychology. So what I did was I moved to California. I networked. I got my master's degree, and then I started in aeronautics at NASA Ames in Mountain View, and then I made my way into gaming at Google Stadia. And what happened there was it was great. So towards the end of Stadia, that's when we actually started Gero Wallet, and and Stadia was actually doing like layoffs and stuff like that. And a lot of my good friends were being laid off from work, so I actually left there. And then simultaneously with Gero Wallet, I started at Facebook, but I have to say that the Facebook job was just really dry and boring, and was really not a great place to work. It was not a good fit, essentially. And I think at that time I was just ready to go full on into blockchain essentially, and Gero Wallet was a good opportunity. So since it's been about 9 months now, I think, and I've gone full time. So I really wanted to improve the user experience in general of digital assets and blockchain because it's just not in a good place right now. And a lot of people, they look at it and they think it's a scam, or they think it's too difficult. You know, they just want to use their Wells Fargo bank account or something and their Visa card. So um,
Yeah, it's like
user
you mentioned it
experiences,
once. Yeah,
yeah.
you wrote that to me. Like devs are developing for other devs; they're not developing for the average Joe.
Yeah, in general, yeah, it's like things are being developed for like-minded individuals, and we need to take everyone globally into account and accessibility as well. So I really think the next step is to work more into UX, and I think we saw the same thing with the tech bubble, you know, like the internet and stuff like that. All of that stuff was not user friendly at first, but look now, you know, all of the major companies are hiring UX professionals, and it's just a matter of evolution, I guess. So I'm looking to kind of push it ahead a little bit sooner.
Cool, cool. Yeah, yeah. User first approach is really something that should be on everybody's mind. The thing is, it takes so much time because sure, like we're all users at the end of the day. We think that we know what's right, but then you put a bunch of people in a room and then you ask them to do something and then they just go a completely different way and you start questioning, okay, like why, you know? And is this something that you guys do? Like, do you have these kind of like testing sessions, or how do they call it? Like with user stories and such, you tell somebody download and install the wallet, try to provide some liquidity on Sunday, etc. Is this something you guys do?
Yeah, so there's a few UX methods that we have used, and we have to especially choose a few that are more agile because the space is it's ultra competitive, honestly, and so it's really hard to fit in some of these UX tests. And but I should say here that sorry, I'm actually kind of sick today, so I'm kind of uh my thinking is a little bit airy. I apologize. But
Don't worry about it.
what was I trying to get back to? Basically, everything's moving very quickly, and UX does take a lot more time, and it's hard to fit it in. It's hard to push out those updates and fit the UX in. But um, the thing is, in the long run, actually incorporating a lot of these UX methods is more cost effective. It's more efficient, and it actually takes less time because instead of pushing things out quickly and meeting the demands of users, you're able to fix those things ahead of time, and then you can move on to the next thing. But if you wait and learn these things, like basically push it out without any sort of beta or testing or anything like that. You kind of learn about all of these issues and then have to go back and fix them later. And it's not a very efficient approach. And then you're pushing things out initially that just aren't appreciated as well. But some of the methods are like one-on-one interviews, doing surveys, doing CSAT, so customer satisfaction. Um, and there's a lot of consulting, a lot of heuristic evaluation actually going on as far as more of an agile approach, so we can move forward along with development. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, definitely. You mentioned right now that the space is getting very competitive. I'm assuming you, on top of the entire DeFi and DApp ecosystem, you also specifically mean the wallets. I have to apologize. I use Eternal, so I'm not a Gero user. But after doing my due diligence, I'm definitely interested in what you guys do and having this like all-in-one dashboard, because I am also starting to completely like lose my, I wouldn't say lose my finances, but at some point, I have some liquidity on MinSwap. I have some liquidity on Sunday. Of course, I'm doing my staking on MuesliSwap, and like with CNETA as well, doing their LISO. It's getting really hard to keep track of everything. So, what would you say that like what is kind of your USP? I don't like this question, but what would be the reason for people to like switch to Gero? Let's say I'm a long-term Euro user, which I actually was, and I realized, okay, it's time to switch to a different wallet. And what would make me go for Gero?
Sure. So I think right off the bat, yeah, I'm perfectly happy that you're using Eternal. It's a great wallet. It's a great functioning wallet. I really appreciate it. So, and they do a lot of things that we aren't doing. So it makes sense. And yeah, when I'm talking about ultra competitive, I guess I am talking about wallets, but at the same time, I don't like to think about us as competing against each other, because I think we all have the ultimate goal that we want Cardano to be, push Cardano ahead essentially. And yeah, we're doing things differently. I think especially the users that are on Cardano right now, they've been around for a long time, and so they're ready for kind of the eternal uh, design or environment, that sort of thing. There's all kinds of things that you can do on Eternal, and that really facilitates that user case. But what we're trying to do is kind of poise for that beginner user. So when the DeFi flood comes to Cardano, we want to make sure to be there. We want to make sure to be as user friendly as possible for the human. So that's really what's different between us. And I don't know if I can really argue and make an argument to choose us over Eternal. I think it's really personal preference. Um, yeah, I mean, it really depends on you. I think ultimately when we have this dashboard, we're going to be providing everything all in one place. And um, swaps, for example, like we will be able to aggregate the dexes. I know for sure we will be doing that actually, and we'll be offering the same or the best price. And you can do that within the wallet. Like I know Eternal, you have the DApp store where you have to navigate to the DEX, but you'll be able to do that within our wallet. So I think
You mean
right
like an
now,
aggregator, like actually an aggregator like we have on MuesliSwap, the one that offers you like real time which of the dexes has the best offer per token.
that is precisely
But don't
exactly.
take that away from
Uh,
us. No, I'm kidding. But cool,
uh,
cool.
I think no, we're not taking away from you. Um,
No, I'm kidding.
I,
Like
I
it's user first, Like that's also our mentality in MuesliSwap. That's also why we have the aggregator, because at the end of the day, it gives the best experience to the user. So by all means, do the same if at the end of the day the user has the best experience. Like I'm full in with you.
yeah. Well, I think actually we're working closely with Muesli on that, so we aren't taking it away from you guys. But where was I headed there with it? I think I think in general the wallet space, none of them really meet the complete criteria of what's needed for a good wallet on Cardano. I think Eternal, for example, is super functional. It's an amazing wallet, but I think it's daunting to a new user. And so we need to fill that gap. So if there's a way we could kind of combine all of them into one, I think that would be kind of perfect because all of the wallets are a little bit different. Um,
That is true. There are certain sections of Eternal that I really don't enter because I'm actually terrified of doing something. Like I've Wi-Fi stake connected to my Eternal, and every time there's like pop-ups and I read through them, I don't fully understand them, and I just close them and hope that like my funds are safe. So I do get what you mean. Things could be simplified, and not only simplified, but also the wording could be less technical, because not everybody understands all of these points. Like, sure, you really need to do your research if you want to trade on crypto, especially on dexes, because let's face it, like dexes is a completely different story to a tex, and you're a lot less secure, and there's a lot less customer support and everything. So you should know what you're doing before you start doing it, but at the same time, it could be easier and it could be clearer. So I'm with you on that.
yeah, I agree. That's a big part of UX research actually is if a user is struggling with it, with a user flow or user journey. And something you mentioned there is there's pop-ups, there's communications that show up, and you don't necessarily understand it. Maybe it's confusing, or I don't know what's going on with it. But that's something that we would find through UX research, and we would do a semi-structured interview, have them go through user journeys, and if that stuff is coming up, then we realize, okay, we need to break this down for them, or figure out a more streamlined solution for communicating or being transparent, or um, it can even
Yeah.
just be you can literally just break up the text. You could get a UX writer and improve the text, and people may actually read it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the sort of stuff that I'm looking for when I'm looking to improve the UX. Usually I can kind of catch it ahead of time, but it's always good to do some testing afterwards, and you'll find things like that, and you go, oh, yeah, we didn't realize that it's confusing, so we need to fix that up.
Yeah, for sure. So while I was doing research on you guys, just to make sure that I don't say anything stupid today, I also came across a fun little fact which I found absolutely amazing. That on your wallet you can actually buy ADA without using like Coinbase or Binance or whatever other text one can buy in ADA. Like, how did you guys do this? That's absolutely amazing. That's really something that I need almost daily.
Yeah, so part of providing the complete experience, or providing everything from A to Z all in one place, the beginning or the first phase is the wallet, and also getting onboarded into ADA. So we wanted to add, have the ability to take your bank account or credit card and purchase ADA with fiat. And what we did was we partnered with MoonPay on that. They are a they're a fiat on and off ramp essentially. So they're able to provide that functionality, and also they kind of handle like the chargebacks and all of the hard work on the back end, that sort of thing. We're able to integrate that, and so it's actually pretty nice. You can go in and with your wallet, go in and purchase it. I think there's information you do have to provide, but it automatically goes to your wallet. So it's pretty nice, and you can completely skip Coinbase or Binance or the SEX or whatever. Like, skip that transactional fee, and that's part of it as well. We want to make it into less endpoints, less transactional fees.
KYC?
There is some KYC. I think people mentioned they have to like show their driver's license. I think it's going to
Okay.
depend on what location you live in, but there is some sort of KYC. It's not completely KYC free.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of one of the main points. And one of the main goals of decentralized finance is to not need to provide your identity. So I was curious how does it go, because I haven't tested it myself. So it's good to know that it does require some KYC to a certain extent. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm not sure where you're able to really purchase blue chips anymore without KYC. I think there's a few exchanges that still like kind of skirt the line there, but I think it's going to catch up with them. I think a lot of things are moving towards KYC, and I don't necessarily want to move in that direction, but it seems to be that that's the way it's headed. And I don't, as far as I know, there's no way that we could actually provide that functionality without the fiat on and off ramps requiring some sort of KYC. If there was, we certainly would adopt that, but I don't think that exists.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully there is a chance in the future, and that the need for providing your identity is reducing and not increasing. But you might be right that it's only going to increase, which is, yeah, a complex topic. Just so, since we're on the topic of fiat, and since, well, we have seen recently a project on Cardano go into hibernation, I need to ask you something which is becoming more and more of a need of for transparency in the Cardano community. Can you tell us about the financing of Gero? What is your situation? How did you actually manage to develop as much as you did? How will you go forward? Basically, a bit of transparency in the finances of Gero. If you could tell us a bit about it.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's important, especially in the light of recent events. And I think, I'm just going to be very specific with it. So I think people are familiar with Flicto and have seen what has happened recently. And I'm not here to talk bad about them or anything, but I think initially when I read the article that they put out, I thought it was real. Like it really resonated with me. And I think several projects have been met with challenges with the recent UST and Luna basically crashed the market and stuff like that. So it actually really resonated with me, and I kind of believed it, and I shared it with Chris, and I was like, this might happen more and more. And we
Which
certainly
Chris,
have been
sorry?
met with. I'm sorry.
Which Chris? My Chris from
Oh,
MuesliSwap.
oh, sorry, Chris from Gero Wallet.
All right. That makes more sense.
And yeah, that was basically my first response. But here's the thing, like, if we were put in the same situation, like, we're gonna do everything we can to make sure Gero Wallet moves forward. There's catalyst funding, there is reaching out to the community, there is like the stake pool offerings, like we could be offering tokens for staking, and there's fundraising, and there's all kinds of things that you could do, and we would scrape and claw all the way to the bottom to try to make sure things would be maintained. We would drop the payroll as low as we can, or to make sure we could keep things going. Like if we're in a tough spot, we're going to try everything we can. We aren't just going to be like, oh, the market went red, we're going to close up shop. And so we're nowhere near there. And internally, yeah, we've been met with challenges, but what we've done is we've compensated with the tokens instead of our raise funds to kind of stretch it along. And we've done NFT sales. Flicto could have done that. We just put out our stake pool. As far as I know, Flicto was making like 100,000 a month or something off that stake pool. So I don't know. Like, we have our funds in order, and it's not perfect, but we have a lot of features coming out, and there's actually one big thing that we're working on to basically, it will add more utility to the token, and also it'll provide a steady monthly income to keep the project moving forward. Because I mean, Chris and I, so Chris from Gero Wallet, like, we have had those conversations, and we've really literally gone into meetings and go, we are screwed. Like, we've been in a tough position, and I think many projects have, but we figure it out. That's the thing. We figure out the solutions, how to keep moving forward. And so, I mean, that's what I would say about it. Like, we may be in a tough spot in the future, but we aren't going to do a Flicto. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
that's
and
what
I saw you guys are really starting with staking and everything. And you guys are bringing out with a lot, including like NFT staking, so not just Gero, but also NFT staking. But if I could just hear from you, I'm not trying to fish out some sneakiness out of you, but like, if I could just maybe hear, like, what got you this far at least? Like, was it your own skin in the game? Did you guys get anything from Catalyst, or just so I understand what got you at least until here.
Sure. Yeah, we haven't gotten anything from Catalyst. I think because we were funded, we wanted to stay out of Catalyst. We did have a proposal early on in Catalyst before we were funded, and then we eventually pulled it. But we had our token raise, and that gave us a good amount of money that we're is being stretched out. And then we will. I mean, we've had NFT sales. Now we have the stake pool. Soon we will have the DEX aggregator, and so we'll be collecting some fees from there, some service fees. So that'll keep the project moving forward. NFT staking, that will have some service fees, and then essentially, like with the dashboard, we'll have like profit sharing, essentially. So there will be some service fees involved with what's going on, and so that'll kind of keep us sustainable, essentially. And so for mostly right now, what has kept us afloat is the raise money. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you for the transparency. Really appreciate it. Just because you also, so with all of these funds coming up and all these new functionalities, I also saw another very important thing that is coming up for you guys, which is governance. Is there something you could tell us a bit about?
Yeah, that's one of the big things with the token. The smart contracts are being developed by M Labs, and all of the on-chain work is finished. That's going off to Twig for the second audit. We had an initial audit and everything was good. There was no vulnerabilities, but Twig said that there was some improvements we could fix on it though. So we sent it back to M Labs, and then we added a lot more functionality to support NFT staking. And then so M Labs just finished that up recently. That's going back off to Twig, and then we have to we have to work on the off-chain part of it. So that's going to take a little bit of time. But once all of that is done, which part of that smart contracts is the DAO, the governance. Once that's ready, we'll all launch it. I think it's going to be Q3 now, actually, for all of that. But there will be the ability to put in proposals and governance, and eventually, I think the medium-term goal is to have Gero Wallet be as decentralized as possible. Right now, we're not there, but we're working towards it.
Yeah, that's really a general trend that you can see. So we're all aiming to get to it, but it is taking some time. I think maybe even Drip Drops was the very first one that went on fully, full on with governance. So you gotta give respect where respect is due. That's really something that we all aim, but it's not as simple as it sounds. There's really so many steps in between. So, but that's really a trend that we're seeing everywhere on Cardano, and that's good. If there's a project that doesn't have these tendencies, in my opinion, that's a red flag. So it's pretty awesome that you guys are doing it, and basically users will vote users holding the Gero token, they'll be able to vote. What are the ways to get Gero tokens?
Yeah, they'll be able to vote with the token. They could vote on things like what blockchains we're going to be supporting next, because we do plan to be chain agnostic. Maybe they could vote on transactional fees, and there's a lot of internal decisions that get made, and so that can be shared out to the token holders. And so the ways to get the token, we're on Sunday, MuesliSwap right now. Those are the three ways that are supported right now.
Okay. So just a quick FYI for everybody, there's going to be a Q&A at the end. You don't have to send in a request already to be a speaker. At the end, we're going to give a chance to everybody that wants to ask a question. So don't worry, you don't have to send through requests already. Cool. Yeah, I was actually, there was a sneakiness to this question. I actually wanted to complain to you because I saw on your website, there's a drop down that says get Gero, and MuesliSwap is not there. So after this call, I kindly request for you to speak to a developer because this has to be updated to the latest information.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I think that's probably actually, that's my fault. Okay. I requested for a MinSwap and SundaySwap to get added, and that was before we were on Musli, but I forgot to follow up and get that button added. Okay. I'm very sorry about that.
That's all good. But speaking of partnerships, I saw that you guys have something coming up with cornucopias. Is this something you could tell us a bit about, how it's going to look like, or is it still a bit hush-hush?
Yeah, we've had a partnership with Cornucopias for a long time. Essentially, we'll have, as far as I know, we'll have our own like plot or location within Cornucopias, and um, people can visit it. And I think there's going to be all kinds of things. And I'm trying to push them to do a Gero mount in the game. I think that'll be really cool. But I think I'm not sure there's much to talk about it yet. I think there still needs to be more development and more back and forth. So we're not. It's not quite to the. I mean, we're not there quite there for the collaboration yet. But I do know that things will be going on in the future.
Okay, cool. But speaking of the future, anything coming up soon that might be interesting or that you want to tease, and anything a bit down the road that you want to talk about when it comes to Jira?
Yeah, we have our mobile wallets coming out soon. And with those wallets, there will be a feature that none of the other wallets have. And we're very excited for that. And then what else here? We are working on basically acquiring a project, and that project will provide additional utility to the token. And like I said before, it'll provide kind of like a steady income as well to the to Gero wallet essentially to keep us going. So if any funds of the project, stuff like that. Um, and then we have really smart contracts, so like the NFT staking, the governance, the native staking, those things will be coming out like a year or so, along with the dashboard Q3, Q4. Those are the things that come to mind that will be coming out soon. Actually, we just planned for our stake pool. So right now we have a certain amount of tokens that will be distributed via the stake pool for stakers. But we decided yesterday we're going to multiply that by 5. So we're going to increase the rate to 5 times because basically we saw like we're not going to be distributing that many tokens, so we can give out a lot more. So we're going to reward the stakers that have control. We only have like 60 delegators, so we decided to increase it, and we'll announce that tomorrow. But if you wanted to stake today, anyone that's staking right now will be able to get that reward. But those are the big things that come to mind that we're going to be announcing or putting out soon. But
So if I'm getting it correctly, if somebody switches to your stake pool today, they're already eligible for those rewards that you're going to be announcing tomorrow.
Yeah, correct. We're going to reward everyone that started staking since the last Epic.
All right, people, you heard it.
Announcement.
You heard it. That's quite a nice tease from you, Shawn, for everybody listening in. That everybody that stakes today, they will be eligible for rewards already starting tomorrow. That's pretty awesome, Shawn. And regarding that one feature that you said that's going to be on the mobile app, also congratulations on the mobile app. That's really a must that we all need ASAP. You can't, because you really teased it there. You can't give us more?
This is one thing that we're really keeping under wraps. We aren't going to leak it out until literally we we put out the Android and Apple apps or the iOS apps. So typically do that, but fun with this one. It's a really cool thing, and the other wallets have. So we're just gonna hold on to it until we put it out.
You're such a tease. Okay, but yeah, looking forward to it in any case. Cool. Honestly, I've kind of went through my most important questions. From this point on, it's more or less small talk. Will you guys be at consensus?
Yeah, we'll be there. So I think we'll be there. Or, all right.
Sorry, I lost you there for a moment.
Go ahead. Well, but I mean, sorry, to answer your question, we'll be there. I think Niels will be there and Chris maybe from Muesli.
Yeah, almost the entire team. So I won't be there, and another dev won't be there, but most of the team will be there. So I begged them to make sure to wear like some MuesliSwap stuff, just so at least you can recognize them. So in case you see some of the guys from the team, make sure to say hi and have a bit of a chat
For
with
sure.
them.
I think we're both in the CDI. I think we're going to do some sort of meetup. So I'm sure we'll run into each other.
Yeah, the CDA has big plans. I saw there's going to be like some interviews and stuff. So the CDA is probably going to be the best place to do this meet. Cool. Cool. Honestly, if there's not much from your side, I just have some pretty basic questions left that I kind of want to ask every single guest I have here. I wanted to ask you, how did you get into Cardano? And if you had any tips for somebody that is just starting in Cardano or trying to get into Cardano, because we've seen, okay, we have Luna 2.0 and Terra 2.0 as of today, which is quite a joke. But we did see a drain of a lot of developers from Luna looking for a new ecosystem. And what would be your suggestion for somebody starting fresh in Cardano, how to approach it? What are the best ways to learn? What are the best ways to educate yourself? How did you do it? Just some of your thoughts.
Yeah, let's see. So that could be kind of a tough question to answer. So it depends, I think, on your skills, your expertise, and like what angle you have. So I think there's many different ways that people could get involved. I know, I think one way in general is just to reach out to the project that currently exists and help them out. I think many projects may be looking for help and would be open to it. There's certainly a lack of Plutus engineers. Um, so if you wanted to learn that, I think in the future you would be highly competitive, or you would be vetted, that sort of thing. So if you're interested in coding or interested in Plutus, I would look into that. There's certainly a gap in user experience. So if you're interested in that sort of thing or interested in psychology and humans, that's a way to go about it. There's a lack of front-end designers, front-end engineers. So if you have any of those kinds of skills, you can reach out to projects. If you want to start your own project, I think it's just networking, meeting the right people, putting your idea forward, and I think the community will support you and figure out how you can get funded. You can get funded through Catalyst. Maybe there's grants. There's token raises. Um, so I think it's just really, if you're motivated, I think it's possible. You just kind of have to put effort towards it, and network. I guess that's what I would recommend.
Cool. Thanks for your thoughts, Shawn. Good. I kind of got everything I needed to hear. I would say let's open up the floor for some Q&A, if that's fine for you, Shawn.
Yeah, please. Anyone can ask a question, and I'm not afraid to answer anything. So feel free to ask whatever.
Yeah, so just send in a request and I'll let you in and you can shoot your questions. Shawn was super cool. He wasn't even overly willing to prepare for this space. He was just like, I'm gonna answer anything I get asked. So feel free. He's very transparent. The project is very transparent, so you can pretty much ask whatever you want. We had a couple of requests during the space, but I think they're gone now. All right.
I think we did a good job. We answered everyone's questions.
Right.
I don't know.
Now here comes the first question. All right, Joker, do we have you? You're
Here now. How you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, Joker.
Woodfield
Hey,
Road,
I just
for
had a
3/4 of
quick
mile.
question about the mobile app, or rather the mobile wallet. Is it going to come with the D-app connector in its first iteration? And will you be able to use it on Dex's and JPEG Store and everything right out the gate?
What we have planned right now is for it to put out the beta without the DApp connector. But what we're working on is a new solution for the DApp connector. So I wouldn't expect it to be similar to the DApp store with Eternal. We want it to be more streamlined, essentially, so you could go to the dApps, click connect wallet, and be able to connect to the wallet automatically. You won't have to go to the wallet and then back to the dApp, that sort of thing. So something like that requires more security. It takes more time to develop. So initially, no, I don't foresee us putting out the iOS and Android apps with that dApp connector functionality. but there will be functionality to allow, how do I say this without giving it away? Basically, DApp interaction within the wallet, so you won't need to navigate outside to the DApp. That's not a connector, but hopefully that
Do you have a
answers your
timeline
question.
for this? So if it's not dropping with the beta, when could users expect this?
That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know. I don't have we don't have a date in sight. Ideally, before the end of Q2. That's what I would say. That's the ideal is to get the DApp connector also out with the mobile apps at the end of Q2. I mean, we
That's
could have them
awesome.
out sooner. We could have them out sooner, but we don't want to do it the same way. We want to kind of do it different, and I guess in our views, like do it better for the user, that sort of thing. But um, since we weren't the first, we're going to try to do it a little bit better, is all.
Oh, no, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, that's actually really exciting. I'm gonna be super excited for that, man. I can't wait to have more than one choice. And then also just one more question for you. Have you guys thought about like putting a button on there so that when you're in the Gero wallet, you can make it bigger? Because right now it's kind of like the MetaMask wallet where you just have, it's a small box to where you could make it kind of take up the whole screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So the extension is pretty restrictive, actually, and it complicates things even for user experience. So that's one of the first things that we'll have out for the dashboard. I think that's what we'll use initially to test the dashboard is it's going to be an extended view of the wallet. So you can log into your wallet from the extension and then you'll click, expand or whatever the button is, and it'll pop out that dashboard. And it'll be it'll have the full wallet functionality. Plus, we'll be adding those other features like swapping and yield farming and derivatives and borrowing and lending. So for sure, we will have like an extended view of the wallet. It's much needed.
Sweet, awesome. Yeah, I'm getting excited. I can't wait. Because right now I feel like I only really have one choice when it comes to a wallet. So I can't wait for all this stuff coming out, especially with the larger screen. Because when you're trying to scroll through there and see transactions and everything like that, it's just hard to do in a little box. So thank you, Shawn. I appreciate it.
No, I agree. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm happy you're excited. Just have some patience. We're working on it. It'll get done. So hopefully you'll be able to see those things in Q3. We'll put out some functionality for the dashboard with extended view of the wallet, probably to start. And then maybe you'll see swapping and NFT staking right after that. So yeah, thank you.
Cool. Appreciate it, both of you. Joker, really nice questions. Thank you. Anybody else? Reminder, you can send in a request while they're talking, so you don't have to wait for them to finish for you to send the request. All right, we should have Jonah with us. Hello, Jonah.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Musli, thanks for holding the space, and Shawn, thanks for coming up here and asking questions from everybody. That's really great. I had a question. I run into this issue sometimes when I've done a lot of purchases in my wallet that I run out of UTXOs and I need to consolidate them. And I was curious if you would be willing to put like a feature in there that kind of made that a little more user friendly.
Yeah, we need to add UTXO management. It's something we don't have, and it's a problem that comes up sometimes. I've had the same issue with wallets that we have. We've had so many UTXOs go through it, and there's no way to manage it. So that's something that we have on the roadmap. So we will plan on fixing that and being able to provide a way for our users to manage their UTXOs. I think the biggest challenge is being able to provide that functionality while communicating to users that don't quite understand it, how it works. Because I think a lot of people are really used to kind of the EVM model, and the UTXO model is actually kind of complicated to understand. So I think that's what we want to nail down, is be able to provide management for users that, you know, they can actually use it and know when to use it. Right now, I don't think that's obvious, and unless it's like you or I, and we understand UTXOs and we can go into Eternal and manage them and that sort of thing. But yeah, we do plan to provide that in the future.
Thank you. That's really great to hear. I'm glad that it's on your radar, and I think it'll be great for end users. And now seeing people who, like you said, are unfamiliar with how the UTXO works, to understand, you know, what's happening when they see the errors like that on a site or something.
Yeah, I agree. It comes up all the time, and we have to explain basically what's going on, and people are frustrated. And so that's kind of a limitation of Cardano. I mean, it's a strength, but it comes out as a limitation sometimes, unfortunately.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Cool. Thank you,
Thank you,
Jonah.
Jonah.
Good. Thank you, Shawn. Another good answer. So, reminder, we're still in the Q&A. Anybody can send through any questions. If none come within the next minute or two, I would say, Shawn, that's pretty much it for today. You covered quite a lot in a short space of time. Or we have Alan. All right. You should be with us now, Alan.
Oh, hi. Thanks so much for having me, guys. And thanks for all you do, Shawn. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and ask a question.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome.
Please.
Just going off of what the last person was saying with the, from my understanding, if user interface and like user experience is like the biggest thing, then wouldn't it make more sense for some sort of like once like somebody's wallet, let's say, has too many UTXOs that are like all over the place, or however that works, because I don't have such a great technical understanding of it, where like some sort of smart contract will get triggered and then it would just automatically resend the ADA to its own wallet kind of thing. So then that would mean that there would be no sort of understanding that the average user would have to have about extended UTXO. Is there a limitation to that, or why is that not discussed really in general, like with all wallets?
Yeah, I think the challenge there is on the blockchain. And I think we have to get really creative to be able to try and solve it. There may be some CIPs in the future that are pushed in to solve it as well. I don't think it can be completely solved and be perfect with user experience, but I think there can be some improvements with it, at least communicate or kind of guide a user on what to do. Like, hey, you know, like a pop-up, like, hey, we noticed, you know, you have a buildup of UTXOs or something like that. And or we recommend you manage your UTXOs and you can do this and click this button, that sort of thing.
But my main question with it though is why can't some sort of smart contract or some sort of automated process be made where the user won't even have to know that exists? The wallet will automatically sense like, okay, you only have 3 more transactions you can kind of use with the you know, configuration of the UTXOs, and then it'll just automatically resend the ADA to itself, and then the user goes along without even realizing it. Why is that not a possibility from a technical standpoint?
It could be possible. You know, I don't want to say it's completely impossible, but I can imagine that would require fees, and being a non-custodial wallet, I don't think we want to do anything on smart contracts without approval and having like full transparency into the user, like so they know what's going on.
For sure. That makes sense. Maybe it could be worked into the collateral or something too, just a thought.
Yeah, I think there's some creative options in there, some solutions, and I think we're just not there as far as like getting to work on it. We just have higher priorities right now, even though it's like a major issue. I think eventually we'll all get around to it, but and it may actually involve all the wallets. You know, we could get together and figure it out together.
For sure.
But
definitely,
it's going to be a little bit of time.
No, totally. And it definitely doesn't sound like a priority at all. And I feel like anybody who is in the NFT space or the DeFi space in Cardano right now, they'll have enough wherewithal to eventually see that, whether it's through one of those alerts on JPEG Store or whatever it may be. So yeah, I totally feel that. But just a thought, and I just wanted to understand more, like, you know, why that sort of thing isn't discussed as much. So, but thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great question.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Alan.
No problem.
Really good questions, huh? So far, so good. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, seems as there's no more requests. I do have one final question for you, Shawn, something that's been on my mind. Why Gero? So why the name? How did you come up with that?
Yeah, Gero is named after Gerolamo Cardano.
Okay. Okay, that was pretty easy. All right.
I was just straightforward with it.
Yeah, I don't know why I expected more, but also pretty shocking. I didn't know that. Cool. Good.
Yeah, it's not obvious. So, but I think once I let people know, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you made me feel better now about not knowing. So you had this
Because
conversation already, I feel like.
it's not like a great name. You know, like you're just like Gerald, like where does that come from? It doesn't sound good or anything, but if you learn where it comes from, I think it's kind of clever or it makes sense then.
Yeah, now I'll never forget for sure. Cool. That is pretty much everything from my side. There's currently no more requests. Shawn, I want to thank you for your time. Another heads up for everybody that is here, also to get some MuesliSwap updates. So the team is currently fully working on the testnet for the automated market maker. And on top of that, we're finalizing for some other wrap tokens like USDT, USDC, and Tether. So you can expect those two updates in the next week to 10 days. As you know, in development, no dates. And on top of that, this entire Twitter space is not financial advice. Shawn is awesome. His project is really cool, but please do your own research. I hope today's space helped you a lot to understand the project a lot better. And Shawn has given us some really valuable information and some things that are also coming up. So you can also understand which things are on the roadmap for them. And it all sounds pretty exciting, to be honest. And I might actually check out Gero myself, although I'm very deep in Eternal. But Shawn, that was a pretty good pitch. You definitely have my attention as well. And I'm pretty sure most people here in this space as well. So thank you once more for your time. This was really great. Looking forward. I won't be a consensus, but most of the team will be. So please try to meet them, have a chat, see how we can work together even more in the future. And yeah, that's everything from my side. Thanks again, man.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. And if anyone has any additional questions they didn't want to ask here, we have the Discord, we have the Telegram, we have Medium. If you want to check that out, that sort of thing, feel free. You can ask questions. And yeah, thank you so much, Musli. Yeah, really happy to be able to jump on here and talk about Gero. And yeah, I'll definitely meet up with them at Consensus. Looking forward to all the future things that we're working on together. I think we'll be announcing soon. So thank you so much, Thank you everyone for joining, and have a good day.
Awesome. Pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine. And thanks everybody for listening in. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.